All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Moments in Recovery. I'm Scott Jones.
I'm Karyn Hurley.
And we're with Addiction Training Center. We want to thank you for joining us. We'll be doing this every Tuesday and Thursday morning. So just give us 10 or 20 minutes of your time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we want to talk about recovery and hope and all those things, right?
All the good things. We've been through a year of really difficult times for all people. And we'd like to talk about how are we all doing? You know, you're certainly welcome to click in with us and check in with us and ask us questions. But the big thing is, how are we doing today? And what are the good things we can do for each other so that we can have good days and feel good about what we're doing? Because as we know, many places are still struggling. And we are too, you know, but we're all coming together. And the more we come together in this network, that was the reason we put this whole thing together. Let's talk about why we put this together.
Yeah, exactly. Coming in the next few shows, Karyn and I will each tell a little bit more personal stories, and so you can get to know us a little bit. But as friends, we've been friends for 40 years almost, or right around 40 years. Wow, yep. 40 years. And
I was just a year or two sober then.
yeah. And somewhere around 15 years ago, we started doing some work together. And then over the last few years, Addiction Training Center was born. And the whole idea behind Addiction Training Center in its first stage was simply to help people to understand how to deal with addiction when it rears its head in your workplace, in your community, or in your family. And intervention is part of that, but it's really more about communication and understanding. And this is something because our experiences with all these people over the years, Karyn told us that it's about that one-on-one communication that's so important in helping somebody, right?
That's right. One of the things from early sobriety that I was taught is, and I was lucky enough, and Scott, you were too, we sat around kitchen tables. And there might be one person, there might be 4 or 5, and sponsors brought you in and you talked. And I was a loner. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to share anything with anybody. And yet that table was very important to me. I went to meetings all the time, but that table is where we really began to grow.
Absolutely. I want to thank Karyn from Crazy About Costumes for joining us this morning. Thanks
for
tuning in. And she's saying thank you for your communication to listen and others to others, because it's important. The communication is important. And you're right, that kitchen table that we all got sober around. And even just when I first came in and got sober, more importantly, the second time when I got sober, it was really about that one instance where somebody was in front of me and cared enough and listened and then was able to respond in a proper way that saved my life. And there's so many people out there that just need someone to listen, need someone to reach out to them, you know?
Well, and talking is important, communication.
Yeah.
I would sit with my stuff when I was drinking and using and not talk to anybody and always feel a lot of shame, a lot of whatever was going on at that point. But that kitchen table, and I didn't talk a lot. And then I talked too much. Told everybody what I thought they should do. That didn't work. Remember that, Scott?
Yeah. I remember that well, Karyn.
And that changed as well. That changed
a little bit.
But the real thing here is all the years I worked in treatment for years. Both Scott and I are former therapists, and we were blessed enough to really develop programs for treatment centers. And I've been around treatment and worked in treatment centers for most of my sobriety. And one of the most important things is talking to another human being. I was taught from the very beginning, you get up in the morning and you thank God for your sobriety and how can I help another human being? And in the early years, that was not an easy thing to do. And when I tell my story, you'll understand why next week. But that became a mantra of how to live your life.
Yeah.
And we live our life that way. We had been talking over and over, but what can we do? How can we help? How can we make a difference with a whole group of people? And I've said this before, that I love what the military says about boots on the ground. And that's what I feel ATC is. We developed this program because we wanted to put people together who could really help another human being. And if we did that and we were reaching out, can you imagine what can happen? A lot of people don't have to die, and people are dying now, and it's heartbreaking.
Absolutely. Coming out of the COVID crisis, and obviously, please continue to get your vaccines and wear your mask when it's appropriate, and do all those things so we can finally really kick its butt. But so much more was born out of this. There's been a uptick in suicides and domestic abuse and mental health issues, and yes, most certainly in addiction and overdose deaths, and alcoholism. People are relapsing left and right who were in recovery because of the isolation, the stress, the problems. Now more than ever, I know there's a lot of people out there that say, I want to get involved and I want to help and I want to do something. Well, now more than ever, it's important that we all do that.
Right.
It's time to pull us all together. Our country has been divided politically. Our country has been divided racially. There's been all sorts of issues going on top of the pandemic. I'm surprised that anybody has ever been nice to anybody. I mean, just the way things are.
Yep.
It's time for that to change. If we want this to be a better world, if we want people to be safe, if we want to be helpful, it starts at home. It starts with us. It starts with you doing something about it. It starts with us sharing what we have and doing as much as we can to help people. But we need everybody on board. And, this is one of the reasons we have the training, is because I mean, certainly it's helpful for therapists. We've trained therapists and had them say it was wonderful, and and that's great, but that wasn't really what it was designed for. If it helps therapists, great. This was designed for people who just are out there living their lives and want to make a difference and help people.
That's right.
And yeah, absolutely.
Ordinary people. We're just ordinary people that want to help somebody else. And the best way to do that is to belong to a group of people that are doing the same thing. And, I'm a sibling. I lost my brother 2 years ago, who was a firefighter. And we've had the privilege of training several firefighters since then.
Yes.
And it's been amazing, the feedback we've gotten, because we've been able to share some things about our sobriety. And, there's something about when you go through, and everybody goes through some sort of recovery. Mine just happens to be heroin and alcohol. Scott's is whatever. What was that again?
Pez dispensers. No, it was alcohol and pills, and there's we're not ashamed of it. The old days when talking about addiction and alcoholism and it was a taboo thing, that's gone. It's really gone. I mean, it's kind of like, it's made it to Hollywood. You cannot get a starring role in a movie unless you're going to 2 rehabs already. That's basically,
that's it.
It's a normal thing. And we're actually having more discussion now about mental health than we've ever had in history. Fantastic. The more we normalize this, the more we can have open conversations. But just make sure that you're prepared to have that conversation and you have the tools that you need so that when things escalate, when people fall into denial, when these things happen, you don't have to just walk away saying, I wish I could have said more. We want to give you as many tools as possible to get this done in the right way.
That's right. Do you remember sitting in meetings and you hear these people say how grateful they were, and you think, are you kidding me? Grateful because what? And you know what?
I was thinking they got paid somehow. That's what I'm thinking.
That's exactly what happens. I am so grateful for my life. I've been sober more than half my life. I can't imagine living any other way. The friendships we had, I'll tell you, in the last few hours, Scott and I have been able to really connect with so many people. I got a call last night. I was just walking into my house after work. I got a call from a young man named Ben, and we had this amazing conversation about he's doing so well, and he's got his daughter, and his daughter's doing well. And it's like when you get those phone calls and the connection of them, is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben, I have a feeling Ben's going to watch this at some point, but we're so proud of you, brother.
We sure are.
It was definitely, he was one of those ones when he walked through the door, you thought, I don't know. I don't know. And he has shocked, and it made me so proud and so happy to have him as a friend and to know him.
So grateful for the phone call. I mean, people call, and you don't realize from this end how grateful you are that someone called and just wanted to talk, and things are good. And I had a wonderful text conversation this morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock with a wonderful young woman that took our training. Mm-hmm. We've never met her directly, yet we have this amazing conversation and just connection, absolute connection.
Yeah.
And how does that happen? It happens because of communication.
And every once in a while, we'll get this story. We'll get somebody calling us from our friend up in the north who works for the delivery service, who's got
Yes.
the 2 kids.
Oh,
And
my
this
goodness.
is a great
UPS.
kid, and he's been sober now, what, 5 years, something
5
like
years.
that,
5
and just
years.
doing fabulous. But the reality is we get more calls from people who have fallen,
Yep.
or people who have fallen down the ultimate pit and has passed away. We get more calls about that. That's why we have to keep going. We can't rest on, some people get better, some people don't. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to say, well, they're addicts and some addicts die, because we've run across that attitude. That's not acceptable. When that someone is your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your husband, wife, your son, or your daughter, you won't be saying, oh, it just happens. It doesn't. It doesn't have to happen if we all get involved. We all get educated. We all learn what to do, and we work together.
That's right. I was part of an intervention call from a family a week ago, and they said, okay, this one person in the family, and we had helped this young woman go into rehab before, and she has relapsed, and the family said, well, when do you stop? I said, I don't know, because I never do. Scott and I don't believe in it. You never give up on anybody, because you never know. I was one of those people, chronically relapsing, go to meetings, drinking, high, whatever, mostly high, and lie to people, all of that. But you know what? People kept saying, come back, come back, come back. And you know what I did? That was a lot of years ago. I never give up on a human being. How do you know what God's plan is? How do you know what you have to go through to get where you're going? I went through hell, and most people have. And I don't care what your recovery is. You don't have to be in recovery from drugs and alcohol. You can be in recovery from many things: depression, mental health, all kinds of things that you can be in recovery from. But the bottom line is, if you group together and we do this together, we all get better.
Absolutely. You don't give up. You keep trying. And if you were to intervene 100 times and had one person who was saved because of the intervention, it was worth the 100 times that you did it, because that one person is so important to somebody, and they're important to us, because that's what keeps us going, is the idea that everyone has an opportunity to get better. Not everybody will, but everybody has an opportunity. Sorry, choked up a little bit. This past year with COVID, my children lost their mom to addiction, and it was heart-wrenching for the entire family. And things have been tried, but there was too many obstacles to getting her help. There was too many roadblocks and enabling and other things going on, where we just couldn't find the formula. I don't want to see anybody die like that. Not again. So we want to work with you. We would like to train you. If you're interested in becoming a certified event interventionist, now please, this is not the intervention you see on TV. No. It's not all those bells and whistles. You're not sitting down in a circle singing Kumbaya. Those do have a place, but this is more like Karyn and I just talked about. These are more like, prepare yourself so that when somebody is in a moment of crisis, when somebody's open for a conversation and you find yourself in that conversation, you can perform the intervention right then and there. It's called an event intervention. It's about one moment when you have an opening to intervene in somebody's pain, somebody's suffering, somebody's illness, and do something positive. And we can do that. We can train you in that. You become certified through NADAC. Nationally certified intervention. So you'd be a CEI, and you take your course. You take your course right on our website. We can do it online. We do live things too, but those are just coming around. So just go online, and it's very reasonable. It's atceducation.com, or you can call Karyn at 786-514-0893. Yes, Karyn right here. And if you call Karyn, you say that you saw us on Moments in Recovery and you're interested in becoming an interventionist, call her. She'll give you a code. You get a little discount. We're going to give you a little something back. But this is not thousands of dollars. This is a couple $100, and it's a 1 day, about 6.5 hours of training. And but it's a solid training. we've gotten nothing but good reviews from it, and people are using it out in the world,
Right.
in treatment centers too.
That's right. We've trained 6 treatment centers in South Florida. We've trained firefighters, bond agents, moms and dads, therapists, anybody that you can think of. But one of the things I want to say is that because Scott and I believe in giving back, because we were giving, is we give donations to a nonprofit. We give donations to firefighters. We give donations to our nonprofit that helps people get into recovery. There's all kinds of things that we do to give back. We'd love you to be part of us. And if there's anything that we can do, please get a hold of us. Just talk to us and see what we can do to work together. Because my feeling is that if we all work together, that's when change happens. And we get busy in our lives, and we don't think about how do we work together as groups. And that's one of the things that I think is so important.
Absolutely. So if you've wanted to make a difference, if you maybe you're in recovery and you decided that you want to get more involved in helping other people, maybe this is a path for you. Check us out, atceducation.com, or give Karyn a call and you can get a discount from Karyn. 786-514-0893. This is Moments in Recovery. We're going to be here every Tuesday and Thursday morning, just a few minutes of your time. You could certainly catch us on our, we have Live Out Loud YouTube network. We have the ATC network on YouTube. We have Live Out Loud Facebook, ATC Facebook, our personal Facebooks, wherever you can find us. We're going to put this everywhere. So share this with people, and certainly reach out to us, even if you just have some questions.
Right.
I mean, any kind of questions. If you're looking for treatment, if you're looking for help for somebody and you don't know where to turn, give us a call. We have a lot of treatment centers that we vet and that we work with. We're not a placement service. We're not marketers or anything like that. But if somebody wants our opinion and help finding somebody to contact, we're here for you. But let us know. We got a lot more things coming your way with ATC and our podcast studio and all the other things that we got going on. So make sure you guys keep watching. And for that, we're going to ask you to have a great day.
Next week, we tell our stories. So please join us.
We'll tell our stories next week. But for now, I'm Scott.
I'm Karyn.
And this is Moments in Recovery. Thanks for joining us. Be nice to somebody today.
Be nice. Thank you.